Today we're going to be talking about diet lies. One of the lies that we have all told ourselves at one point or another, and being that it's almost February, many of us just told ourselves this lie a few weeks ago because of the new year. That is, it's going to be different this time. So the reason why I want to address that is because if we start actually getting our heads into this game that we're playing, this game, or whether it's fat loss or building muscle or whatever it is that you're trying to do, when we don't bring the mentality aspect into it, we tend to start repeating a lot of the same mistakes over and over, and then we're wondering why we're getting the same results. So that's why I want to address this. When we say it's going to be different this time, we don't tend to ask ourselves how. So that's one of the things that I want to challenge you to do right now, especially if you found yourself, coming into January. Maybe you made resolutions, maybe you didn't. Maybe you're like, I'm not doing resolutions, but this time is going to be different. I am getting it in this time. And if you told yourself that, but you didn't ask that crucial question, how, then I want to not only present that to you, but I want to present a few other questions as well. So this is kind of what I do. I like teaching like this. So if you have a pen and paper, you may even want to jot these questions down, because every time you set goals and you tell yourself that it's going to be different this time, or this time I'm really going to do it, then you want to take yourself through some of these exercises to make sure that it really is. Because in order for things to change, they do have to be different so that you're not repeating the same things. But if you just jump into a goal and you make the mistake of not looking to your past and not looking ahead, then you are going to find out that you are repeating those mistakes. So you want to make sure that you're asking yourself how. How is it going to be different this time? Like, are you putting actual steps in motion to make sure that it's different this time? Or is this just a determination that you've set? Because again, if you set that goal in January and you're not there still now, or if you've set it every January before, or every Monday, or every summer, and you're like, it's going to be different this time, and that hasn't happened, then you know that it takes more than determination. It takes an action plan. So are you putting the steps in place to make sure that it's different this time? And what are those steps? Don't just say that you have action. Oh, yeah, I got it. I know the actions that I'm going to take this time. What are they? Are you looking for quick results or permanent results? And again, look at, if this is not your first time attacking this goal, look at what you've done in the past, and then take that with you when you start making your future predictions. So, do you want it quick, or do you want it permanent? If you've had it quick before in the past, has it been permanent? Is it still around? Or are you trying to achieve this goal for the second, third, fourth, fifth time? So once you get that out of the way, once you say, how am I going to do this? Is it going to be quick? Or do I want it to be permanent? Then you can start setting up some of those other steps. You can start, asking yourself, like, okay, so am I planning for the days that I'm not going to feel like doing whatever it is that you're saying that you're going to do? If there's like these steps that you're saying that you're going to throw in to the mix to accomplish the goal, are you planning for the bad days? Because they're going to happen. Again, look to your past. Look to the last time that you tried to accomplish this thing. Were there bad days? Of course there were. Not, like, every day is not going to be perfect. And if you're sitting around waiting for perfect days, you're either never going to get started, or if you quit every time a day isn't perfect, then you're always going to quit. So ask yourself that ahead of time. What am I going to do on the days that I don't feel like it? Like, if it's working out that you're trying to do, or if it's trying to eat a certain way, or increase your protein, or something like that, like, there's going to be days that you want to eat carbs only. What are you going to do to get in protein those days? There's going to be days where it's like raining or snowing or something and you can't get to the gym. What are you going to do? To just tell yourself, because you have to think about in the beginning, you're so excited about your goal. You've decided, I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to do it once and for all. And whenever we decide to do something, you will probably never again be as excited as you are on the day that you say, this is the thing that I'm going to do. So you have to not assume that mojo that you're feeling, that excitement that you're feeling, is the way that you're going to feel when you get knee deep into it. And you know that because, again, this isn't the first time. So if you've gone through it before and you know that, okay, something happened, don't just assume that, okay, yeah, but this time, it's not going to snow, the kids aren't going to have practice, or, I'm always going to feel like eating this way. Assume that there's going to come a point in time where you are not going to want to do it, and plan for it. Start thinking. Another question is, what happened last time? Why did I stop doing this? Like, what fell through? What made it all come to a halt last time? If you can't figure that out, then you're not digging deep enough. Don't stop until you find out why. Don't just tell yourself, oh, it's because I just got to stick to it this time. That's not an answer because that is not going to work when times get rough. So continually ask yourself, like, okay, and what else? And what else happened? And what else happened? And really ask yourself the questions that you don't want to answer, because that's where you're going to find the answers to how to make it work this time. Why did you fall off last time? What day or string of days happened that made you fall off the wagon or stop doing whatever this essential thing is that you were doing? Or, how many pieces to the puzzle were there last time? How many different steps did this change process have last time? Could that have been the problem? Was there like a 12, part like section of like, okay, I can eat like this and I can work out like this and then I can't mix these foods and I have to work out like this on this day? Where there's so many moving parts to that change that once one thing wasn't there, suddenly it was hard to keep any of them up. If that's the case, that's something that you need to take into consideration, because the science already shows, but if nothing else, your own past history of trying to attack these things show that changing a ton of things at once isn't sustainable for long periods of time. So take that into consideration. How many changes were you trying to put together last time? How many moving parts to it was there? When you removed one, did they all fall apart? If so, then you probably need to brainstorm, like, okay, out of all those changes, what was maybe like the needle moving one? And let me just focus on that one. Because when you pick your keystone habit, the one thing that kind of like helps all the other things fall into place, then you're much more likely to do the other ones. But even if you don't do those, you're still at least keeping with the one that matters. If you're trying to change everything all at once, you're typically going to find out that that's exactly what happens. You pull one and it's like Jenga. Like, you're just buying time until it all falls apart. So ask yourself that. How many steps did the last change process have? What happened that made it all fall through? What other steps are you putting into place to make sure that, your bad days are taken into consideration? What are you going to do when you don't feel like it? You need to ask yourself these questions because, again, you want action steps and you want to have them already mapped out. And the best time to map them out is when you're in that like gung-ho, like this is what I'm going to do this time feeling. Because when the time comes that there is a bad day, you're not really going to be able to think it through clearly at that point. When the time comes that, something comes up and you can't stick to whatever that keystone habit was, you're not going to think like, oh, this is my keystone habit, let me keep doing it, if you didn't decide that ahead of time. All of those things are decided in advance for a reason, because you want to already have seen that happening in your head so that when you get to it, you're like, oh, okay, yep, I knew this was going to happen, I planned for it. Or else, when that happens, you're just going to be like, oh, I failed again, and you're going to quit, or you're going to try to push yourself through it, and that's only going to last for so long, and then you're going to quit. So either way, you end up not sticking to the change, and then guess what? It's not any different than it was last time. So in order for something to be different this time than it was last time, you have to actually stop and think about what happened last time. Where did it fall apart? What were the bright spots? What were the things that you didn't really have any troubles adapting to? What were the things that weren't so easy to adapt to? Who was making up the rules? Was it all somebody else, or were they things that you actually wanted to change? It makes a big difference. The science shows that habits that are like thrust on you by somebody else and that you don't feel like you have a choice in, those are going to be the first to go when times get rough. The ones that you actually feel strongly about yourself, the ones that you actually decided to change, the craving that you have to keep it going is going to be a lot stronger to help keep you on that. So picking a diet that just because somebody else says that it works, but it has like 137 rules and none of them like even appeal to you at all, there's no point in doing that. Not just because it looks like it's going to work or it worked last time. Because again, if you're looking at last time, if you don't still have the results, then it didn't work. That's the biggest key that I want you to take away from this, is if what you're doing last time, the results have not lasted this long to the point where you're making the declaration that things are going to be different this time, do your homework, study yourself, look to your past, ask yourself the questions that you don't want to answer so that you can actually move forward this time and things be different. So that when you ask yourself that question of do I want quick results or permanent results, hopefully your answer is permanent and you are actually making the decisions and making the steps for your action plan that are going to lead to permanent results, even if that means that the results come a little bit slower. So I hope that helped you guys. If you have any questions about that, about making changes or change psychology, that's one of the things that I am obsessed with, because most people don't understand it and they just make declarations about how they're going to change and what they're going to do, and they do things that maybe seem right in the moment but don't benefit them in the long term. Then let me know. Or if there's other topics that you guys do want to hear about, make sure to let me know.